Ladies and gentlemen, the date is May 23rd, 2022. The time is now 6 o'clock p.m. And I want to welcome everybody to a special session of the Havre de Grace Mayor and City Council. Before we proceed, I would like to call the roll. Council President Ringstocker.
Here.
Councilmember Robertson's absent. Councilmember Zinner.
Here.
Councilmember Boyer's absent. Councilmember Shanegas.
Here.
Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Please join me for Pledge Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. We have one agenda item on this. We have one item on the agenda this evening's resolution. We will go to item 4, which is comments from citizens on this resolution. Is anybody here in the audience this evening to speak on this resolution? Any comments from the council? Okay. We're going to go to a presentation, item number 5, from Mr. Patrick Seipolt. Good evening, Mr. Seipolt.
Good evening, Mayor, and good evening, Council. On behalf of the administration, my sincere gratitude for you taking time out of your busy schedules to hear this, to convene this meeting and to hear about this presentation and the upcoming resolution we're going to put before you for consideration this evening. So what I want to do first is give you just a very brief history. Many of you are familiar with the concept of the trolley program that we want to institute here in Havre de Grace, but I want to give you a little background. This isn't a whim that we thought of overnight. I know the mayor and Director of Administration, Mr. Gambatoria, can tell you it's been at least since 2017 since we began this pursuit. It may have been a dream of Mayor Martin's even before then, I'm not sure. But in 2017, we started taking the steps necessary to take legislative action. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get it on the docket in Annapolis in that year. However, in subsequent years, 2018, 2019, and again in 2020, we put forth legislation in front of the delegation, both from the House of Delegates and the the Senate. The overall view taken by most was that they thought it was a great idea, but it was a new concept. It was definitely thinking a little bit outside the box. And while people were ready to get on board, they weren't quite sure how to legislate it because our trolley falls under low-speed vehicle, which is a unique characterization of a vehicle in and of itself within Comar, let alone it being, in this case, used for public access, and it's also considered an overweight vehicle. Overweight meaning it exceeds 3,000 pounds gross vehicular weight. So each year we had less legislation moving forward. In the last year, year 2020, that it was before and the folks in Annapolis, both Adam Rybczynski, who started to carry the baton. I went 2 years and testified before Environment and Transportation Committee. Adam then took the baton in year 2020, along with Chief. They both gave testimony very similar to what myself and I think even Councilman Dave Martin 1 year spoke on, I think in 2019. And they felt like it was going to have a favorable review. However, we all know the pandemic hit us. The session was cut short. But they also realized that you'll see, or I have available if you really want to get down into it, there was already processes or somewhat in place in Comar which would grant MDOT and MVA the opportunity to make a ruling on this type of vehicle without it necessarily being legislative. Now, interestingly enough, it wasn't just Havre de Grace coming forth with our ideas through Senator Casserly and Delegate Lasani, but there were municipalities all around the state starting to inquire about how they could incorporate low-speed electric vehicles into a public use format. So I think MDOT, in their wisdom, said, wait a minute, we have mechanisms in place that we need to promulgate. There was a section in COMAR that they needed to amend, and which would then give them the latitude to review each case on a case-by-case basis as it was brought forth, as opposed to having legislators trying to legislate or write legislation that fit their need. So in 2020, in March of 2020, the administrator of MDOT, Christine Nazir, wrote a letter to the then chair of the Environment and Transportation Committee and said, look, we appreciate all your effort, take it down a notch. We found in COMAR, give us time to promulgate and adjust COMAR to where we can then take this in-house and take it on a case-by-case. In September of 21, the promulgation was adopted, and we ordered our first trolleys in March of 2021. And the mayor and I and Steve, we knew we were breaking ground. We were very confident because prior to that, we had put forth the specifications to MDOT. We put forth our intentions. So we had a pretty good feel that we would receive a favorable review. Little did we know that it would be a long and tedious process. With that said, they said, okay, we'll be happy to, part of our process is we have to have Maryland State Police inspect, their compliance division inspect your trolley. Well, that sounds easy enough, except there's no trolleys like it here in the state of Maryland, and people that we purchase from, they don't release them unless you buy them. Because now we're in the middle of COVID, supply chain, like you're waiting for everything. There's not like they're not sitting in like a car lot or a vehicle lot waiting for someone to come by with, little price tags on them. They're made to order. So we took that leap of faith and we placed our order, and our first trolley arrived in December of 2021, which again, thank COVID, I guess, and supply chain, it took us a while to get there, but here we are. Immediately thereafter, MSP came up, conducted their inspection, and then we went through a series of what they noted areas that they felt needed attention. Bay Weddick and his crew, Wendell Love and Ronald Fears, did a yeoman's job bringing the modifications to the trolley that MSP thought should be made, and we brought it into compliance to their standards based upon their inspection. So through that process, and it's been a process, then we went back to MDOT, MVA, went through these steps, and then their final step is this that we're asking for tonight through resolution is the indemnification process. And so with that, I can give you also a brief synopsis of what the scope and the initial scope and operation. And this is really for the benefit, I think, of any folks that are listening outside, and also with the understanding these are always subject to change. This is a new program for us. We like to stay fast and light on our feet and continue to adjust it as we find it best fits the needs of our citizens that we're here to serve. So effectively, the idea of the trolley is to move people around the city in the most expeditious manner, and also it being economical. It's going to take about a penny and a half at most per mile to operate these, and that's electric charge. They're powered off the solar grid out in Perryman, so there's no gas, no oil. So we feel it's going to help out a lot with traffic congestion during like peak times in the city, which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and also during special events, especially if any of the blocks are closed. We also think it's going to be a great connection from our satellite parking that we have, which we know we have down at like the Marina, Hutchins Park, even right here now at the Auditorium Gymnasium, and all the way over at the Lock House, and bring people where they want to go in a timely fashion, because that's one thing we hear about. People are concerned a little bit about parking. They obviously haven't been to Annapolis when they say that, but we're doing everything we can to help facilitate and move people about the city. So it'll operate primarily on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and during special events, which could occur on other days, say for like a Monday, for example. Our initial fleet has 4 trolleys. The reason for 4 is more often than not, maybe all 4 may not be press in service. There will be times when they will be, but that also then gives us some redundancy because we're talking about an electric machine, and we don't know what we don't know yet. And as our confidence builds up and the integrity of these machines, we kind of learn and get a little more familiarity with them and how they operate, then we'll have a clear picture of how many we need to have in the loop at any one time. It takes approximately 17 minutes to make a loop, and that's with 16 stops, and it's about 3.5 miles in length. Again, the loop could be subject to change and will probably be modified when there's events downtown versus if there are events somewhere else. So if it's one trolley doing 17, simple math, you put 4, if you had 4 in there, you'd cut it by quarters. So you see there's not a lot of weight. Again, we want service to be premier, and we want people's experiences to be second to none. And what you see there in that little picture, that's actually a trolley, a picture of one I took when I was down in Florida. It's exactly like the one we have as far as the chassis goes, a little different configuration in the seating, but it's in use right now in Florida, same exact vehicle. And I guess with that, I will open it up to questions. Oh, we call it the tide. Tide's always moving, right? It's also cyclical in nature. So that's our logo. You'll see trolley tide stops around the town right now. So kind of start training your eye for that. And with that, now I'm opening the floor for questions.
Dave?
Cycle. One of the things that I believe that we should let the public know is one of the trolleys has actually been equipped as ADA compliant, so that we will be able to have that ability for transport of passengers. Is that correct?
We will look to purchase a trolley with that outfitting on it. We do not have that yet. That'll be forthcoming.
Any other questions? Council President?
Mr. Seipo, what is the fare to ride the trolley?
Right now, you'll ride all day for $0.
Wow.
For the trial period, we decided not to get involved in the fare collection until we get it down, and then it'll be a very, very cheap.
Yeah, in all fairness, I think you ride all day for $1 seems fair to me.
Yeah. Remember, we're not paying for gas. So, any other questions? Yes.
Mr. Seipolt, is there room for advertising for our local businesses?
Funny you should ask. If you were to look at the top picture, you'll see there's like a box configuration that's mounted on all 4 of these trolleys. When you'll see them out, as soon as assuming we get approval and then we have our tags, we're going to have signage put in these spots. There's actually 10 spots on each trolley. And that'll be something that we'll have to roll out to businesses as far as the price structure on that we're working on. We currently have signage that's going in them right now, which will be advertising upcoming events that are currently we'll also have like Discovery Maryland and Havre Grace. That's our mantra. We'll have Carnival in Chesapeake on there. I think the Jazz and Blues. We have, Independence Day. We may have Waterfront Festival. So there'll be a few on there initially, and that'll start the buzz. We're starting, I think, a little later in the season than we really would have liked, but that'll also give time for Bambi and company administration to decide how they want to do the pricing on that. But there will be advertising available.
Thank you.
Councilmember Zinner?
Have we hired our drivers yet? And if so, how many are we hiring?
I don't know what the limit to the number of drivers. I believe we have 4 currently, and we are still looking for additional, keeping in mind that if it's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it would be, I think, a lot to expect an individual to give up every weekend. So we want to just have a few more. I don't know, Mr. Ritchie and Fred Wills are looking at the manpower and the scheduling. I wouldn't be surprised if if we're trying to get upwards 8 to 10, that they could flex and also allow for call out or something like that for proper scheduling.
Well, whoever's listening can come on down and apply, right?
Exactly.
Looking for good people.
Yeah, some good
Hope we talk
ambassadors.
about Havre Grease. Any other questions? Mr. Seipold, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank
Well
you,
done.
Council, again,
Well done.
for your
Thank you.
time.
Council, going to move on to item 6, resolutions. Item A, counter resolution concerning the trolley. Council President Ringsacher.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I make a motion to introduce a calendar resolution concerning the trolley.
Second.
Council, have a motion by the Council President, second by Councilmember Martin. This is a motion to introduce a resolution. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay. Motion to introduce a counter resolution concerning a trolley carries 4-0 in the affirmative. Council, this is going to be Resolution 2022-13. 2022-13. A resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, pursuant to the Local Government Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, Sections 33 and 34 of the City Charter, authorizing the Mayor to take such action necessary to commence trolley operations as soon as possible in the city, and authorizing the Mayor to sign an indemnification requested by the Maryland Department of Transportation Motor Vehicle Administration as a condition of licensure. Council, I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2022-13.
So move.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Martin, seconded by the Council President. Questions or comments? Council President?
Mr. Mayor, as described by Patrick Seipold, this is just, it gives indemnification to the state and allows them to issue us a license and usage permit for the trolleys.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Council President. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Council, this is a resolution, so we will do a roll call vote. Council President Ringsacher.
Yes.
Councilmember Shenagus.
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner.
Yes.
Councilmember Martin.
Yes.
A roll call vote of 4-0 in the affirmative. Counter resolution number 2022-13 is approved and adopted by council. We're going to go to item number 6, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Councilmember Zinner,
Second?
second by Councilmember Shenagus. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to adjourn carries 4-0 in the affirmative. The time is 6:19. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a good evening.